apologize for not being able to be here today. My son got sent home sick yesterday, and per daycare rules, they have to be symptom-free for 24 hours before they can return to school. So he can't go to school today. Since my boyfriend has picked him up the last 2 days, it's my turn to stay home with him. So unfortunately, I'm not going to be here today. Follow along with this video to understand what you need to do today, and I'll be back tomorrow to go over any questions that you have. I do expect you to do the work. I'm not going to go through question by question and solve everything. I will answer the questions that you have. The sub does have some of the answer keys for you to check. I expect you guys to be working with each other, asking each other questions, and yeah, I'll see you tomorrow. Okay, so we're gonna turn this paper into a foldable by folding it down so that we can still read factoring trinomials at the bottom, and then we can see both of these titles on the front: factoring trinomials in the form ax squared plus bx plus c, and factoring trinomials in the form ax squared plus bx. Okay, so for this one, there's still an a in here, but the a is equal to 1, so it disappears. In this one, we're talking about where the absolute value of a is greater than 1. So even if it's -1, if it's, or hold on, we're talking about when a is not equal to 1. So any time that we'll have something in front of the x, whether it's a negative number or a fraction or a whole number, that's gonna be totally different. Today we're just focusing on this one where all of our trinomials are gonna have a is equal to 1. So looking on just the left side, on their summary, I want you to write in the question, what multiplies to c and adds to b? And remember, we're talking about this b from ax squared plus bx plus c, so this b and this c. So if we look up at example 1, okay, our b is the 11, our c is the 12. And our question is, what multiplies then to 24 and adds to 11? Okay, so our c is 24, our b is 11. So first off, let's figure out what multiplies to 24. Well, 24 is 1 times 24, or 2 times 12, or 3 times 4. Oh wait, 3 times 8. We have 4 times 6. And then my next one would be 6 times 4, and I've already got that combo on here, so I don't need to keep going. Now I gotta see which of these add to 11. 1 plus 24 is 25, 2 plus 12 is 14, 3 plus 8 is 11, 4 plus 6 is 10. So the only combo that works is this. So to factor our trinomial then, we're gonna write 2 parentheses. The variable that we have is an x, so each of these is going to have an x. Okay. And then one's going to get a positive 3, and the other's gonna get a positive 8. I can check to make sure I got the right answer if I use distributive property to multiply these back together. X times x is x squared. X times 8 is 8x. 3 times x is 3x. 3 times 8 is 24. If I combine like terms, I'm gonna add the middle two together, and I get x squared plus 11x plus 24, which takes me back to where I started, so that was correct. So my factored form is going to be the quantity x plus 3 times the quantity x plus 8. Let's do number 2 together. We're going to see what multiplies to c and adds to b. So my factors of 12 are 1 and 12, 2 and 6, and 3 and 4. Which one of these add together to equal 8? 2 and 6. So I'll create 2 different parenthesis sets. Both will get an x. One will get a positive 2. The other will get a positive 6. Again, we can check to make sure we got the right answer by multiplying those back together. X times x is x squared. X times 6 is 6x. 2 times x is 2x. 2 times 6 is 12. Add the middle two together and I get x squared plus 8x plus 12, which is where I started. Okay, for number 3, 4, and 5, I want you guys to try those on your own. Have the sub pause the video and then check your answers. So for 3, we're looking at what multiplies to negative 15, because that is our C. We wanted to add to 2 because that's our B. We've got negative 1 and 15, or negative 15 and positive 1. Remember, to make it negative, it's got to be 1 negative, 1 positive. It could be negative 3 and positive 5, or negative 5 and positive 3. Which of these combos adds to positive 2? Well, that's negative 3 and 5. So I will have 2 parenthesis sets that both have an x in it. One will have a negative 3, one will have a positive 5. If I go ahead and FOIL this, or multiply and distribute for my check, x times x is x squared, negative 3 times x is negative 3x, x times 5 is positive 5x, and negative 3 times 5 is negative 15. Combine these two terms together, and I get x squared plus 2x minus 15. That gets me back to where I started, so that checks out. For number 4, we're looking at what multiplies to negative 18 and adds to negative 7. So we have 18 and 1, 2 and 9, 3 and 6. In order to multiply to a negative, one of these must be negative. Which one of them needs to be negative so that we add them together to get to negative 7? That'll be 2 and negative 9, because those two together add to negative 7. So we get x plus 2 times x minus 9. Again, you could check it and make sure it verifies that it's correct. We could also then move on to number 5. C is 42, B is negative 13. What are the factors of 42 that add to negative 13? We've got 1 and 42, 2 and 21, 3 and 14, not 4, 6 and 7. In order for them to multiply to a positive but add to a negative, both values need to be negative. Which of these then add to negative 13? Negative 6 and negative 7. So x minus 6 times x minus 7 is my factored form. Okay? You have a worksheet here that you need to complete. All of the odds. The sub has the answer key, or you can Google factoring trinomials a equals 1 for CUDA software. You'll also find the answers. I do need to see some work, so where you're identifying your factors and what multiplies to C and adds to B would be some work to show, so I know that you didn't just copy the answer key. And I'll see you guys tomorrow.